Ate Maria, Pine Hill School. Here are your daily notices for Rahina, Monday, the 2nd of July. Year 5 and 6 Jump Jam team. You have a practice today in the hall at 12:40. See you all there. Explore. Could all Tini Explore leads who are going to Rangitoto College in Term 3 come to the Rhythm Room with their lunches for a quick meeting at 12:30 today. Thanks. Lost property will be displayed outside room floor every fine day this week. Please go and look to see if there is anything of yours there. Thanks. Weather permitting, girls and boys cluster hockey players who are willing and able, please meet in the bottom court after lunch eating today. Now Mrs. Kelsey will share a few words.
Morena everybody, I hope you've had an awesome weekend and welcome to the last week of the term. I can't believe where the term has gone. And no special messages from me about this week. It's going to be a pretty quiet week I think for the last week of term, but you'll remember last week we had a chat on the TV station about showing integrity. And I know from a lot of the teachers that you've been talking about integrity in your classrooms and times when you've had to stand up for other children or stand up in situations where you know that something was happening that really shouldn't have been happening. So I have been working with a few children, including Aisha, and they're going to tell some of these stories on the TV station this morning about a time when they had to show integrity. So Aisha, can you tell us about a time when you had to stand up for something that was right because of a situation you saw?
Well, there was this girl in the what is it called?
Cloak Bay?
Yeah, Cloak Bay. And she was crying and I'm like, what's wrong? Because I was just walking around like, walk. and then and she's like, my friend pinched me and I'm like, do you want to walk around with me like in school? And she's like, okay. So we were just talking while we were walking and then she was feeling all right and then she said thank you for helping me do this. Yeah. Good.
So you basically helped somebody who you knew was looking a bit sad and perhaps didn't have anyone to play with.
No.
Yeah, so that's sort of standing up for the right thing too, but it's also you showing empathy for somebody else's situation, which is really awesome, and I'm sure she felt really good that you'd helped her. Awesome. Thank you, Aisha. All right, and now we have Ella, who's here to talk to us about a time when she stood up for something that she knew wasn't right. Ella, what was your story?
So a boy last year in my class was getting teased for being big, and he was being teased by these boys.
Lots of times or just once?
A lot.
A lot? Okay. Yeah, and so what did you do?
I told them to stop and I told them how would you feel if someone told you that you were big. And the boys were like, but he's big. So then I told the teacher.
Good girl. Okay, so I think that's a really good example of talking to other people when you know that something that they're saying isn't kind about somebody else, and that's definitely using your integrity, isn't it? And getting help from an adult's often the next best thing to do as well if you think that the message you're trying to give isn't working. But I think it's really, really good for children to hear a message from their peers. So your peers are people who are in the same sort of age group as you or around the same age as you. It's really good for them to get that message from their peers rather than from teachers sometimes, because it might make them think twice before they tease somebody in the future. So thank you very much, Ella. Good girl. And lucky last, we have Emma, and Emma's going to talk to us about a time when she had to stand up for something that she knew wasn't right and use her integrity. So what was your situation, Emma?
So these girls, they were about year 1, and that one girl was teasing another girl that they were like a scaredy cat because they weren't going to say something at assembly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And what did you say to that person who was teasing somebody?
I said to them, how would you feel if that person did it to you?
Awesome. And what did she say?
She said that I took a part and she didn't, and
so she kind of still kept arguing back. Yeah. And what did you do after that?
I went and got a house leader.
Right. Oh, that's a good thing to do. Awesome. So great that you stepped in and tried to defend somebody who was being teased, and then when you realised perhaps that you needed some extra help, you went and got a house leader. So that's awesome. Good girl. And hopefully we've got lots and lots of other students in our school who stand up for situations when they know that something's not quite right. One of the other stories that I heard about from Phoenix, who didn't make it this morning, was when he saw people picking the playground matting. And you might remember that's something I talked about at Assembly, and that's another good example of standing up for something when you know that someone's doing something that's not right. It wasn't a case of teasing like Emma and Ella's situation, but it was a case of not treating our school environment in the right way either. So if you see something and you know it's not right, then if you feel that you can, perhaps try and see if you can say something. And you need to only do that if you know that you're safe to do so, because sometimes even adults find themselves in positions where they feel like they should say something and they should stand up for what's right, but sometimes they think, well, if I do that, it might not make me safe. So always make sure that you think you're going to be in a safe situation first. So thank you very much, Emma and Ella and Aisha, for sharing your stories, and Phoenix, and also the other boys that came to see me. Thanks, everybody. And just finally from me, Mr. Mulholland just reminded me our reports go home on Wednesday afternoon. So please make sure that those get home safely to your mum and dad in your bag, all right, or in your book bag. Awesome, everyone. Have an awesome last week of school.
Those are your daily notices for Rahina Monday, the 2nd of July. Thank you for watching. Have a Pine Hill day using the Pine Hill Way. E nohora, ka kite anō.